The star player, the franchise, Paolo Banchero is still slumping. He had a terrible game against the Utah Jazz yesterday. We're going to be talking about his slump, what this means for the team, and where they can go moving forward. Also, the votes are in for the month in review for January for the Orlando Magic. The final grade's not looking too good, but we're going to talk about that, plus some of the other positives, such as player of the month and game of the month. And then we're going to take a look ahead to the Warriors game, which is tomorrow at 10 p.m. Eastern, which probably won't be doing a post game after that one. It'll probably end right around midnight or just past that here on the West Coast or on the East Coast. So I'm probably not going to get too much to that. But let's talk about Paolo Banchero and what exactly is going on. I think a lot of Orlando Magic fans will admit that since he has returned from his oblique injury, he has not been the same. He was not the same guy at the very start of the year. And overall, we're seeing a dip in his total statistics for the season, averaging 23 points per game, 7.6 boards, and 5 assists. He really hasn't been the same guy, and it's mainly the shooting percentages, almost taking a step back from back to what we saw his rookie year, right, where he just can't really seem to get anything going, and he's having those games where he is just not at all seeing anything on the court that is good. He is not shooting the ball well from three whatsoever, and he's having those 2 of 17 games, those like 3 of 19 games, the type of games that really almost shoot the Orlando Magic out of the game, but you're not going to give it to anybody else on the court, right? So that's okay. But he's averaging, he shot 21% from the floor yesterday against the Jazz. He had 9 points in that game. That's not going to cut it, especially when we know that we're struggling offensively. And he had 8 points a few nights ago against the Portland Trailblazers, the first game that they played against the Portland Trailblazers, not the one that they just recently played. He had 21 points in that game, but has shot 3 goose eggs from the three-point line. So there's no doubt about it. He's not the same player right now. Sometimes he looks timid. Other times it just seems like the shot's just simply not falling, right? I mean, he's going to be aggressive. He's taking a ton of shots, but sometimes it's just not falling. Other times he's passing it up. Mainly, I would say the shot's just not falling. The night against the Portland Trailblazers when he was 1 of 14, ironically, that was the least amount of shots that he has taken in the last 5 games. Actually, it's the least amount of shots that he has taken since the Philadelphia 76ers win, which was already almost a month ago. He shot 14 times in the Trailblazers game, shot 8 times in the win against the 76ers, but he has shot in the last handful of games 19, 23, 21, 22. Then we got to that 14. Then 19, 16, 20, 20. I mean, I don't really think anybody's got an issue with him taking a ton of shots because that's just the way that this offense is going to roll. But right now, just not working whatsoever. Now, there has been some stuff, some people talking about, is he injured? Did he re-injure something? Was the oblique not fully healthy? Because Franz is looking pretty good right now. And he came back before Paolo did. He was probably a week or a week and a half, maybe, if I could ballpark it, ahead of Paolo Banchero's recovery timeline. But obviously he got hurt like a month later, so he came back after Paolo Banchero returned. But maybe he had some sort of re-aggravation and is just trying to power through it. I mean, we know that Jalen Suggs powered through an injury and he was able to kind of still be effective, but Paolo Banchero looks like he's really struggling right now. And, in a game against Utah when we thought we were going to get a win, potentially start the road trip, to have him play pretty poorly is unfortunate. Right now, the defenses aren't exactly honing in on him either too much. Missing Jalen Suggs does hurt the offense, and we do know how limited we are. But Franz Wagner's been playing extremely well, so there's not too much of an issue with him getting doubles and just overall not being able to get any spacing, get any room to maneuver, because Franz Wagner's out there right now. It'd be a different story if he wasn't out there, if he was slumping as well, and then you got both those guys just getting screwed over by that. But no, Franz is playing pretty elite basketball right now, and unfortunately Paolo Banchero, since he's returned, averaging 20 points, 7 boards, 4.5 assists. We need more from that. 38.9% from the floor, and now we're looking at other answers, whether that is the injury, whether that's just simply the fact that he's just doesn't have the shots falling. Whatever you may have it, he's slumping, and this team's going to have to figure out. Jamahl Mosley's going to have to draw something up. Maybe we got to see what we can get from him. Maybe we need that point guard, the table center, Jalen Suggs, throwback, can return to the court consistently and potentially help him out there too. Right now, a lot of Orlando Magic fans saying that Franz Wagner is the main guy on this team, and I would have to agree with based off of how they're playing, but I don't think we should kid ourselves right now. Paolo Banchero has a ceiling that includes first team All-NBA, second team All-NBA, and I think Franz certainly has that, but I would still say that Paolo is just an inch ahead. Playing poorly and still averaging 20 points is pretty darn good. So I think at times we can defer to Franz, but we need both of them, first of all, to play good basketball. But, we need Paolo, and he can do the best and the most damage, especially come playoff time. But let's take a look at what happened with the polls for the Orlando Magic month in review. You guys chose the Knicks win as the game of the month for the Magic. I only give you guys the wins in these polls, okay? A close loss, I'm not going to have it, but I will say, I didn't realize, I knew that we had a poor month of January, but when I was making this list, I didn't realize how thin it actually was. I only had these choices for you guys. The Orlando Magic only had 3 wins in the month of January. That was really unfortunate, but obviously you guys voted for the win of the Knicks. I'd have to agree. I think the win of the Pistons was probably almost equally as important, but the time earlier in the month, that Knicks win was one of the more, one of the better highlights of the season. But player of the month, you guys can obviously see my votes. I had Paolo Banchero. The reason I did was because Franz just didn't play enough games. But that is what the other people are commenting there. So you see somebody else comment below. Those are Franz, okay? Or it's anybody that just doesn't want to vote for anybody on the Magic, essentially, just saying somebody else. But Cole Anthony is the official winner. He played well in the month of January. He's just been a very reliable piece for this team after the injuries to Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, essentially, right? Since he started just picking things up, like late November almost, we kind of saw him kind of get back into that lineup, and then all of December, playing still good basketball in January. Right now, there's a lot on his shoulders. Wendell Carter Jr. also offensively playing pretty well, so he gets some nice recognition there, even though everybody says that we should trade him, including myself. January. What grade would you give the Orlando Magic? Well, what we've all been waiting for, you don't have to stare at this for too long, was an F. Or a D/F. This team failed. And we're going to have a college grade here and say that you need a C to pass. This is one of the core classes, and a C is a passing grade. A D means you need to retake it. An F means that you probably should change your major. And right now, this Orlando Magic team is in that probably should change your major type of vibe right now. But in all seriousness, this Orlando Magic team played poorly in January, but a new month is upon us, and unfortunately, it started with a loss yesterday against the Utah Jazz, but there's more onward, and a West Coast trip is coming up, and that brings us to the Warriors. Tomorrow, as I said, I'm probably not going to be doing a post-game for you guys. Maybe I'll hop on and we'll be talking a little bit more about the trade deadline. I also wanted to talk about this Luka Doncic news because it just flipped the NBA upside down, so maybe that's what we'll end this video with. But yes, the injury report. Jalen Suggs, left quad contusion, questionable for the game tomorrow at Golden State. He's missed 3 straight games now. And KCP, who missed Saturday's game, he was resting, is not listed on the injury report. Mac McClung, I do believe, if you're curious, is always usually listed on the injury report, and it's typically has to do with a G League two-way guy who's probably not going to be able to come up in time. So I don't think he has any plans of joining the rotation. So we'll see exactly who ends up playing. Looks like we're going to go in here with a pretty healthy team. So unfortunately, we've been begging for health, and this team has just been slumping, just overall. But hopefully they get everything under them, get their feet under them, and play some good basketball tomorrow against a Warriors team that is 24-24. This Orlando Magic team, 24-26. I'd like to get back to 500, hopefully by the end of this road trip. All right, let's talk about this Dallas Mavericks move to end off this video. Guys, this is crazy. And I think this is probably the most shocking trade in NBA history, the biggest trade in NBA history. You got a guy who's 5-time All-NBA first-team selection, 5 straight years, and he's traded in his prime. Now, I get why the Mavericks may have felt like they needed to make the move, but I would not have done it. under any circumstances. Even if he's not conditioning, even if he's 270 pounds, you pay him that money. You pay him that $345 million, and you just live with it. You just go on ahead. He's still really good, took you to the finals. But I did want to bring it up just because I'm curious to, of what you guys think in the comments below of that move, because that certainly brought an interesting conversation to the forefront. Somebody asked Kevin Durant this right after the Phoenix Suns game. Or he was expressing this. Do I think that owners or general managers are going to potentially trade guys and try to be aggressive in that sense because they don't want to pay him, whether that is the CBA or not? And are they going to just try to make moves and just almost like go against the grain? Maybe we see that's something that the Orlando Magic do. Maybe Weltman ends up doing that. Who knows? Maybe they kind of, when everybody's zigging, they zag, and that's exactly what the Dallas Mavericks did. I don't think that the Mavericks won the trade, but there's a lot of people who believe that they do, and they might be even better set up this year. Maybe not than they were if they had Luka, but maybe better than the Lakers are this year. I don't know. Personally, I don't believe that. Just don't shoot the messenger, just presenting what everybody is thinking. But yeah, let me know if you guys think that the Orlando Magic could end up taking that sort of approach. Who knows? We got 4 more days, I believe, right, before the trade deadline, and hopefully the Orlando Magic end up making a move. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. Jam-packed Orlando Magic basketball content for you guys. I will see you, if I don't tomorrow, it'll be the day after, so make sure to stay tuned. But until then, guys, stay easy.